One of the things we realized when we were actually moving things out of our shop was everything was in small pieces. You know, there was a drawer here and a drawer there, and we thought, wouldn't it be nice if we could just roll out a whole cabinet with all our hardware in, or cabinet with our tools in. So we went back and put everything on wheels that we could literally empty out the shop of all of that type of material probably within an hour. We wouldn't need a long time. And then we also recognized that there's tools you need to repair after a flood. So you want to hold on to you want to keep a close eye on the tools that you know you're going to need and actually have a sense of that. So we make up a list of tools that, say, we take to a job site to do an installation. So we have those, and so we know this is the first thing out, and I'm holding on to this. This isn't going. We lost stuff. We were finding things months later that we thought, oh, I have no idea. Oh, that went to so-and-so's garage, and they still have it in their garage. And that would happen. You know, you'd be missing things, and yet you wouldn't have any idea. So that became important to do, and just to have a sense of if you have big equipment, how are you going to deal with it? How can you raise it out of an area of flood? What equipment do you have access to, forklifts, things like that. But basically, in an emergency, you act in the ways that you've practiced to act. You don't have any other choice. You go back on your history of what you've done in the past, and if you've done nothing, you're just running around with your head cut off pretty much and just grabbing things here and there with no system to it. So if you can think it through, and I know it's hard for people to do, but it's important to actually think through, what would I do if I had an hour to move out of here? You know, what would I grab? What are the important things? Are my tax documents in the shop, in the studio? Are my drawings, you know, that I would have a hard time recreating in the studio? All of those things that would be incredibly difficult to replace, and it would be heartbreaking as well as incredible amounts of work to replace. You should have copies of them off-site, and have anything that's current that you need that day easily accessible that you can grab and take, and sort of to know what that individually means for you is no one else can do that. People will say, well, what should I grab? You're the one who has to answer that question. They can't answer it for you. They'll grab a box of scrap. People carried out boxes of scrap that, you know, were going to be burned in someone's kiln for baking bread. You know, and I'm thinking, why are they taking that? My tools, save my tools. You know, so it was like that. It was kind of funny when people would grab, just because it was what was easy to grab, and it wasn't necessarily what was proper. So. But only you can make that decision and have that organized in a way that is understandable and can be relayed to people who aren't familiar with your business. I think overall that you have to realize that disasters do happen even when you're prepared, and we could do all the right things to prepare, and it may happen again. You know, things like floods, you can't take too personally. They're community-wide events. They're happening to everyone. And other things that happen, fires, whatever, they also happen to a lot of people. It's just that we don't realize it until it becomes personal. But once again, I'll reiterate that you can only do what you've practiced. You can only do what you prepared for. My daughter has she says, oh no, the P word all over again, practice. And so it's that mental practice and actually the physical practice of what would I do in an emergency? What would I do if a tornado was nearby, you know, or a flood was imminent?